class tracking in QuickBooks Online. Now this one we're all familiar with because class tracking is used prevalently throughout the desktop world. So if you have clients on QuickBooks Desktop, I am sure at some point in your experience you've done a lot with class tracking. Now in Premier and Enterprise, as a side note, there is a balance sheet by class report. Not that it's anything to write home about, but there is one. Okay, not so in Pro. In QBO land, there is no viable way to do balance sheet by class unless you're using journal entries. It's a source and target thing, and maybe I'll do a video just focused on source versus target, but that's a little deep for today. So it's really about the profit and loss, okay? The income statement, and that's important to know up front before you even look at anything, because you're having these conversations with your clients. Say it's a nonprofit, make sure, hey, are you good with just a P&L by class, or do you need balance sheet too? Right? And that's an important question to ask because you don't want them to find out months down the road. Another video I did on location tracking, yes, that does support balance sheet and P&L, but you can only have one location per transaction, right? So it has its own limitation. Class, you can split lines by them, but it's about the P&L. Okay, the target area, source versus target, all right? So I'm going to go to the gear icon, accountant settings, and it is an advanced setting. So we'll click on that, and you'll see categories, because we like to call everything categories. So you just turn on class tracking. It's just a toggle switch. And then, yes, you can be warned. And usually I always see it one to each row in a transaction. I mean, sometimes it'll be a summary thing where you do one to the entire transaction, but I usually just leave location tracking for that. And I like to split stuff out by class in the split area on bills, checks, invoices, things like that, right? So that's how we're going to keep it. And this is typically 99% of the time how I see this particular setting set up, right? So we're going to save that. We're going to click done. And if we go back to the gear icon, lists, all lists, you will see classes here. And I have 3. Commercial, government, residential. And you're just using it on transactions. Even the batch classify feature, if you're in through QBOA and work on a client file, you can go ahead and batch or classify stuff for classes and location. And that's in the accountant tools. Just as a little tip. So let's do a sales receipt this time, or it could be an invoice or what have you, to a particular customer. And you'll see here I'm splitting it out by class because of that setting. So this will go to commercial, this will go to government, this will go to residential, right? And it's about the profit and loss so that I can run a profit and loss and see the revenue grouped, profit centering, right? So grouped into the correct columns for class. And we'll look at that at the very end. So that's a sales receipt. And then we could also go do, let's see, I did a bill in the last video. Let's just do a check. I'm on the class, same kind of deal. In the category section or the item section, you're adding lines. Class will be a column and you can just tag them, right? Location's up top, 1 per transaction for location, but class you can do at the split level, all right? And now we're going to save and close this, and then we will go to reports, and you'll see right away in the business overview section, there already is a profit and loss by class right there. But there's no balance sheet by class. Not specified is good. I mean, you don't want to see a lot there, but it just means that I haven't, or your client hasn't assigned any classes or transactions. And remember, you can go into this accountant tool, classify transactions, and do it in batch, right? And then you have commercial, government, residential. So I am profit centering my profit and loss. And that is class tracking in QuickBooks Online.